Hi everyone, welcome to Safety First Crisis Intervention. In this training, we'll go over how we can emotionally support riders during times of escalation or feeling overwhelmed. To start off, we have anxiety. I'm sure we've all felt that. Anxiety will look different from rider to rider. They could be scared of getting on the bike, telling you they need a break, or people watching them, and so on. Like how riders show anxiety in different ways, your response will also depend on the rider. The main two responses are validating feelings and asking how they would like to be supported. This can sound like, bikes can be scary. I am always nervous to learn something new. When I get scared, I like to jump 5 times and take 4 deep breaths. What do you like to do? Sometimes riders don't have an answer, so we move on to these next options. Some riders like to de-escalate or calm down by themselves. Some just need some outside encouragement, and others want to not think about the bike at all. Lastly, we can always adapt and modify our expectations for the rider. If getting on the bike seems like a big step, just walking the bike or touching the bike can be our first goal. Our next behavior is defensive. Anxiety can make you feel like you're being challenged. Examples of defensive behavior are getting angry at the bike, avoiding the bike altogether, or non-compliance, ignoring you or saying no to your requests. Start off with the same tips as before, validation and support. Man, that was really frustrating. Let's take a second and get some water. If a rider continues to be against getting back on the bike or shows non-compliance, state clear expectations. First, you can have a 2-minute break, then we can walk our bikes around the gym. Then give some space. This will allow time for the rider to ground themselves as well as prepare them for the next thing. Next is risk behavior. Risk behavior can look like throwing a pom-pom on the ground, riding a bike fast towards another rider, lying down in the middle of a bike path, and more. Your first step is to think about the likelihood of the event and the severity of harm before making your decision. Think about if a rider were to throw a pom-pom on the ground out of frustration versus riding their bike full speed towards another rider. Throwing a pom-pom on the ground is probably very likely, but the severity of harm is low. Whereas purposely riding a bike towards another rider might not be as likely, but the severity of harm is much higher. The yellow zone is the safety line here. This is where you can make the decision of what level of intervention you should do. Always no touch before touch. You can redirect or distract the rider. If the rider seems to be biking fast in a small gym, you can ask, hey, what if we can see how fast we can ride the bike outside? Other options are giving space for venting in a safe location and always validate feelings. The last step of our interventions is tension reduction. This is to build trust and rapport with your rider after an escalated event. Start off with a non-threatening body position. If your rider is sitting on the ground, sit down next to them. To help build trust, you can do a 1 to 2 minute activity together or talk about positive topics and their interests. Sometimes building trust can look like giving your rider some space or switching out with another volunteer. Your mental health is important too, so if you are feeling overwhelmed after an incident, it is always okay to take a step back and ask someone to switch with you. Adding to that, rational detachment is a big part of your relationship with the rider. During an escalated event, they are frustrated and trying to find a way to release their emotions. Remember, they truly are not trying to harm you. The last 2 slides are about communication with your rider. Earlier we talked about redirecting your rider when it seems like they are starting to become escalated. Interrupt the situation and redirect by compliments and bringing up their interests. Oh my goodness, those shoes are so cool. Are they your favorite? Or you can modify your goal. How slowly do you think you can ride around the gym? When riders are overwhelmed, it helps to ground them by stating clear expectations. First, ride your bike for 10 laps, then we can choose a sticker. Lastly, we have our fail-safe option. This gives the rider autonomy and choice in their life and how they want to learn. You offer 2 options for them to choose from that contain the goal you have in mind and something they want, such as, would you like to ride 10 laps and then cheer on riders for 2 minutes, or cheer on the other riders for 2 minutes, then ride your bike for 10 laps. Thank you so much for listening, and bike on!